What's up, everybody? This is Dark Macek with Brutally Delicious, coming at you with a review of Eunomia's brand new album, The Chronicles of Eunomia Part.2. It's been a while since we've had a band number albums like that. I mean, Chicago just did numbers all throughout, but Chronicles, I think that's new. So anyway, going into this might be a trite comment, but first thing, killer artwork. I immediately knew this was going to be my kind of band. And sure enough, as befitting to that, it is kind of like symphonic metal, but also the kind of adventure metal that seems to be very popular nowadays. That is, it seems just as inspired by Dungeons & Dragons or Skyrim as it does Rhapsody. So this band is adventurous, but it doesn't overdo it. It sounds like a less cheesy Glory Hammer. Maybe sprinkle in some Twilight Force. I can tell that there's Rhapsody influence here, but I don't think they sound that much like Rhapsody. Good for them, they took an inspiration and didn't copy. I was curious about the band's namesake. Eunomia is apparently the Greek goddess of law and order. I feel like there's a joke here, like, these are their concept albums. It kind of fits. I could see this being theme music to a Dungeons & Dragons Paladin, even though there was already a band called Paladin. So let's get into some songs. Right away, the opener. Again, I'm thinking like less cheesy Glory Hammer, takes itself more seriously. Vocals sound like Thomas Winkler meets Alessandro Conti. Maybe a little bit of Daniel Hyman thrown in there. Okay, I literally just read about this. Apparently Alessandro Conti is guesting on this, so no wonder I heard it. It's just really strong adventure vibes, like you want to go out and save the world kind of deals. Moving on, the song Glorious. The song is stately and powerful, and it rhymes glorious with victorious. There was literally a thread on Reddit's Power Metal subreddit the other day about bands that do this. I think it's just par for the course for Power Metal at this point. Why not laborious or notorious or, I don't know, sartorious if you want to write a song about a tailor? At this point, I want to call out that there's a really good vocal variety here. It's not just the one-trick pony found in a lot of super tenor power metal singers. Of course, there are several guest vocalists, which might be the main source of that, but it's cool. Moving on, the song Another Dimension. Here's a really good banger, and there's good story development here. I didn't read all of the lyrics, but I could tell that there's some movement that happens in this one. As soon as I hear the phrase Dorgamir's staff, I'm invested. The song My King. This is a great symphonic metal ballad. This might be the best one of the year. I'm not sure I've enjoyed one this much since Enchant Me by Skeleton 2 years ago. Maybe The Endless Grey by Battleborn this year. I'm definitely forgetting a good one and going to regret saying that later. Clash of Steel. This is good shit. There's a great chorus. I'm reminded of Luca Turilli's original solo stuff. Not Luca Turilli's Rhapsody, but the stuff he did in the late 90s while he was still with the OG Rhapsody. I think the song I'm thinking of here is Legend of Steel. Let's pause here to talk about the guitar work on this album. It's phenomenal, and the rhythm work is pretty low gain, which is impressive for this style. The solos actually stand out, which is impressive because a lot of this genre just has a lot of widdly stuff that's technically impressive but doesn't stick with you. I think I hear a Luca Turilli influence here, and he's by far my favorite power metal guitar player, so good job. Raise Our Banners. There's some cool haunting elements of this in the pre-chorus, and of course another great chorus. And just one last note, the last two tracks on the album. These are both great power metal burners, great way to end an album, make you feel like the world's a better place after you have heard it. It's strange how 8 minutes or whatever can do that to you. It's a bit odd that both of the album's singles are the last two tracks. Normally one of them is towards the front of the album because it's what kicks things off and starts the mood, and maybe one's towards the end. But this one, they're literally the last two tracks, so interesting move. Great sophomore effort by these guys. Apparently their first album, was 5 years ago, so I'm glad to see that a band of this style can actually make a comeback. I'd never heard of them. I don't think they've toured the US, but it's really cool to see this style on the up and up. Battleborn earlier this year, Fellowship, I think last year. Just keep fighting the good fight, and hopefully one of these years, you'll all be big enough to tour the US because I want to see you someplace other than Wacken or 70,000 Tons of Metal. Rock on.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Freites from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.